Feels good, fellas. Feels good. We are back. Kevin got the red memo. I'm proud.
Yep.
All right. Feels good to sit down with the boys, talk a little sports. What a better night. Can't even think about it. We're back. We are back, officially back for the podcast at least, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends of all ages. We're back here for QWI. My name is Austin Specht. I'm going to be kind of leading this charge here, and I'll pass it off to our fearless leader, Noah over there.
Hi, I'm Noah Druin.
Brett, why don't you say a little something? Fuck you, Noah.
Hello, welcome. Glad to be here.
Yeah, Brett, what's going on, guys? Excited to be here.
We love you.
That's all the important members, so we're going to move on here. You can find... Kevin, tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, this newcomer. Who's replacing Biggie Ginge? Who has the audacity?
No
I
one.
have the audacity.
No one
Me.
replaces Biggie Ginge.
I am Biggie Kev, all right? And that is what
How
I'm here
dare
to
you stand where he stood?
You wish you were as good as Biggie Ginge. All right. Well, you're stuck with us for tonight, and you can find us in a couple different places. Obviously, we have a Discord. We got 4QWI.com. We got the Twitter 4QWI. We got our own little website where you can find all our blogs, our start sits, our any bullshit that we want to talk about. You can find on 4QWI.com. We do games. We do sports. We stick to the majority football, basketball, and stuff, but we kind of like to dabble and whatnot. And soon, hopefully, so I've been told, you can get this bad boy on almost any podcasting site you can find. Apple,
Yep.
Spotify, you can get it. So hopefully that'll be tomorrow. And yeah, we're back, boys. We're back. It's gonna be good to talk about some sports and not on Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just dive right in, fellas? Last night was a game. All right. It was as exciting as described as you would think. Steelers and Titans, with the Steelers taking it home in a fourth quarter comeback. What you fellas watch? Did everybody watch?
I was catching bits and pieces while
Bits and
maintaining a
pieces
win
myself.
streak in Rocket League.
Yeah.
Undedicated. Okay, that's what I'm like to hear. Brett, did you watch, Brett? Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit. My sorry ass sat through all 40 minutes, and my coworkers just watched the highlight on YouTube the next day. I mean, it was a game. But I think maybe I could be wrong. I speak for all of us when I say it's kind of what I expected. I didn't expect a 34-30 game. I kind of expected 2 touchdowns, a couple field goals, live and die by Nick Folk. I mean, that's kind of what I imagined.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after the performance Will Levis put on last week, I was hoping my boy Derrick Henry, running back number 2 on my fantasy team, would have been able to get some points, but jack shit pretty much. I mean, he did all right, but Will Levis, you gotta pick up the pace over here.
Yeah, what the
Dude,
hell?
Henry had a decent game. First of
He
all,
didn't have
let's just
he didn't have enough
75
to-
yards, a touchdown, 3 receptions for 27 yards, according to the box score. That's serviceable. That's RB2 numbers.
In my opinion, I think the Titans are ruining Derrick Henry this year. That's what I think. I think they could be using him way more, and they're not.
That was an interesting face effect.
I mean, go off, Kev. I mean, why? Like, what do you? So you just think that they're underutilizing Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I mean,
which is true. It's true.
Yeah, he's been the cornerstone of their offense for like 6 years now, and now they're just like, every game I'll check back, he's got like 50 yards and maybe a tutty, and that's about it.
He made Ryan Tannehill look respectable for a couple years.
Exactly. And now Ryan Tannehill is on the bench because they're not using Derrick Henry the way they should be.
Well, like, it's a long season, and the past couple years, Henry hasn't been available late in the season to where, like, they need him for that playoff push. So they're trying, I think, to just limit him in the beginning stages because they're gonna need to lean on him more later.
That is true, but they're gonna need to
Mike
start using them now.
Vrabel. Mike Vrabel doesn't give a shit about your fantasy team. I promise. Derrick Henry, yeah, like Noah said, Derrick Henry did okay. But my biggest takeaway is, and I kind of said this in the chat after the game was over, is Will Levis might not be some dog who's ready to put the Titans on his back and drag them to a playoff. But I think we can all agree. I'm kind of wrapping in last game as well with this game because, you know, the small sample size. That kid's got balls, absolute balls. I mean, most rookie QBs having, you know, Hayward and TJ Watt and Highsmith running at you would shit themselves. That man stood in there and delivered some solid passes, and he almost pulled it off in the end. He did get picked off right outside of the end zone, but he had a couple passes, especially at the end of the game, where he stood in the pocket, he waited, and he threw some darts, and he gave DeAndre Hopkins those 50-50 balls that Ryan Tannehill just didn't ever give him. And I didn't realize how dramatic it was because I know you hear it in the media like Ryan Tannehill is afraid of the deep ball. Ryan Tannehill, when he played, has like 1,100 yards, a little more. Will Levis already has 500, and he's played 2 games. So I think now that Will Levis is playing, I think that might open it up for Derrick Henry more because now a team actually has to play downfield. When Ryan Tannehill was in, they did not. Again, not a dog, but I think Will Levis has something that I think that they should just keep Ryan Tannehill on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking over at the end of the game, and I saw there's one pass that stood out where it was a good pass, it was a good play by the defense, but I feel like if Will Levis, if he wants to be able to keep that starting position, this is a throw he's got to make. Where I think they were maybe around the 30-yard line at this point.
Yeah.
And he put a dart down the middle of the field, and the guy was wide open in the end zone. But if he just put a little more air on it, then the cornerback can't come over. I forget if it was a safety or cornerback, but someone came over, got in front, almost picked it, but they didn't. You get that, a yard higher in the air so that it can still drop down for your man in the end zone. That's a touchdown, and you're going home with the win.
That was still a good throw too, despite it almost getting picked. Like that was a solid throw. And also, I only caught the last like 5 or 6 like in-game minutes. His throwing motion is so fucking weird. Like it's like a little it's a flick of the wrist. It's the weirdest thing, but it goes so far and so fast. I don't understand. I don't know if there's another quarterback that throws like that right now. It was bizarre, in a good way.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, no, it's weird, but it works for him.
Yeah.
I guess once you get used to a certain throwing motion, it's hard to kind of switch it up. I mean, look at Tebow. Like, he was forced out of the league because he refused or couldn't get out of that habit of throwing like back shoulder and not like, planting his feet and actually setting his feet before he threw the ball. He had the weirdest motion ever.
Yeah, he had a couple flubs last night that I couldn't tell if it was just from how he was throwing the ball or if it got tipped at the line. I had no idea. He looks like an awkward man when he's throwing the ball.
The one at the end of the game that resulted in the flag like seconds later, I think that one did get tipped because that one was really bad.
Yeah.
He also had another, again, he is a rookie, so like understandable stuff. There was that one play too where he stepped up in the pocket and didn't set his feet, and he was wide open, like right outside of the end zone, and he just like flicked it up there, and the guy, I forget who it was, I don't think it was Westbrook. He was like backpedaling, and he like couldn't get the ball, and it's like if he made that throw, that's a touchdown. There's literally nobody behind him. So, I mean, there's some things, obviously, that is still a rookie, still hasn't played a lot of NFL ball. But I think at times he looked better than Kenny Pickett did. And I hate Kenny. First off, I think Kenny Pickett's a bum, certified, lock it up, Garbo. I mean, I think he sucks. And Matt Canada also sucks. But I do think that they don't have Matt Canada. I don't think they do that much better with Kenny Pickett still. Kenny Pickett is averaging 180 yards a game. You could say that's Matt Canada, but 180 yards a game is bad, really bad.
Well, you got to think that with Deontay Johnson back, that'll ramp up a little bit, right? Like, but then again, he only got 160 yards last night, so I don't know. And somehow they're 5-3. That's like right now, right in the playoff race, right in there.
They're 5-3. I'm pretty sure purely based off that defense. That's pretty much the only thing keeping this team alive at some point.
Yeah, that's a scary pass rush. TJ Watt is terrifying to watch. Like every single snap, he's so methodical about it. Like he'll snap and he'll stand there for like a second, and he'll like analyze where his opening is. He's very impressive to watch. That's why I will watch a Steelers game to see what he does. And not like he's the only star on that defense, but obviously he's the kingpin there. So
yeah, I think Levis was very like aware that he was gonna have to throw the ball like fast, and he was good, I think, in like recognizing like the the defense coming at him and like throwing it away when he needed to. Or, there were a couple plays where like, there was, pressure, like he had no time at all. And he made a couple good throws, like a couple good checkdowns to Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, and, picked up like, 5-10 yards. I thought he limited the amount of negative plays. Had Tannehill been in there, I mean, Tannehill easily could have been sacked 6-7 times. But I think Levis only got sacked once or twice.
it was 4 times, but still, yeah.
But I will say only like 1 or 2 of them was his fault. There was 1 or 2 where he stood there and he just stood there and stood there and stood there, and poor DeAndre Hopkins was being locked up by a rookie, and like locked up. I mean, there were a couple of those 50-50 balls that were questionable, but they did that last week and they scored a touchdown on one of those 50-50 balls. But when DeAndre Hopkins is being locked up by a rookie, I can name, Heinz Akine's their other receiver, and then there was one other guy who got hurt. I don't remember his name. But when I think of what Kenny Pickett has and how he has Deontay Johnson and Pickens, and then they have that monster from Georgia, that tight end that they don't use, Washington, and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Most quarterbacks would kill to have something like that. And the fact that he can only muster up piss poor amounts of yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks. And I know Deontay Johnson just came back like 2-3 weeks ago, but I don't know. There were times where Levis looked better than Kenny Pickett. And so I think when people are blaming Matt Canada, and I think he should be fired, I think he's just terrible, just the worst. But I don't know if Kenny Pickett would be doing that much better if Matt Canada wasn't there, and I'm going to stand by that. I just think Mac Jones averages more yards a game throwing to Joe, Larry, and Steve, whoever the fuck he gets to throw to next week. Kenny Pickett has 2, one of the better wide receiver duos. I don't want to say one of the best, but Deontay Johnson and George Pickens are upper half of the league, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, where I was looking it up because I was curious, because we've seen those absolutely horrible bombshell games that Mac Jones and the Patriots have had, but like they're still averaging more yards passing than the Steelers, and that's if we're not dead last in passing in the league, that I just feel like that's pathetic. Like how does a team do worse than what we're doing right now?
Exactly. Yeah.
Beats me.
That was my first thought too. Is I was like, Kenny Pickett sucks. I need to see how Mac Jones is doing, because that's like my bar, and it's sad to say that as a Patriots fan, but it is. And I don't know who else. I said to sit Najee and Jalen Warren, and Warren, of course, had a touchdown. Najee had a touchdown, and Warren almost had a touchdown.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Because I said to sit them, they decided to play football. Najee's been on my bench for how long, and he's done jack shit. And then yesterday he gets like 65 yards and a touchdown. And in our league, he got like 19.5 or something like that. So in most leagues, that's probably like 15.
It was a good game. Yeah,
So
like Jalen Warren averages 8.0 yards per carry yesterday.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Oh yeah. If I said to start them, they would have both died. They would have got mugged before the game, and they would have never played.
Oh my god. Let's discuss some of the other picks that we suggested to start yesterday. I'll take credit. I said to start Deontay Johnson, and he had a pretty marvelous game. Let's see what his box score was. 7 for 90 and a touchdown, including a 32-yard reception. Amazing. I also said to start D-Hop. D-Hop got targeted 11 times. I want to point that out, but he only ended with a 4 for 60 line. I mean, replicating like a 4-catch, 3-touchdown week from last week was not going to happen. But it seemed like Will Levis kind of unlocked Hopkins, but maybe not. Still a decent game overall. And then the other person that was suggested to start by Jay was Mr. Nick Folk, but he's kind of like he's kind of amazing this season. If only the Patriots had a kicker like him. I'll point that out real quick. That would be pretty cool if we had a kicker like Nick Folk. Nick Folk ends the game with let's see here, 3 for 3, including a 48-yarder. He's still perfect on the season. Completely perfect for extra points and field goals. We need someone like that on the Patriots. So start sits went pretty okay with who we suggested. Spect kind of took the L there. But it's kind of uncanny at this point.
It's like my 6th week in a row just sucking it up. And I don't get it. I don't know who I need. I'm just going to go like with the basics. Like I'm just going to go sit the Steelers' third running back off the bench.
You need an easy dub.
Yeah, start Patrick Mahomes, okay? You got it. Start Josh Allen. I just need to go with the easies.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, not a bad game. I mean, it wasn't a great game, but I think it's going to be better than. Did you see next week's Thursday game?
No, I didn't. What is it?
Panthers Bears, baby.
Oh shit! Can they flex that?
That's what we're looking for.
Can they flex that?
It's going to be 3-0 because no one wants to score.
I will say this is a deep callback. I gotta bring this back, but it was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I was so mad that I think it was at that point the Miami Dolphins and the Cincinnati Bengals in like week 12 were both 0-12, and in week 16 they were playing each other, and I wanted them to get there and both be 0-16, but they both got a dub beforehand, and it was just it pissed me off. So now anytime I see 2 bottom of the barrel teams going, all I can think of is Tank Bowl. We're going for picks. That's all we're fighting for.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you at this rate? What do the Bears have to live for? I mean, like,
especially the Bears. They could get the 1 and the 2.
We're not. Well, yeah, because the Panthers. It's like, don't you want to win? Like, don't you want to pull that pick away? Like, get it down into the teens or something?
Yeah.
But like, I mean,
well,
not that we have.
That raises a good question. The Bears have both picks, right? So do they want to win or do they want to lose? How do they preserve those picks at 1 and 2?
Oh, good point. Good point. But yeah, that game's gonna be rough. I don't think we're gonna have much. I mean, who knows? Maybe 2 bad teams. Maybe the badness like levels out and they just go off against each other because they're both just bad.
Well, hopefully Fields back, because if
right,
Badgett versus Bryce Young, that's a little that's a lot worse than what Justin Fields could give you.
I gotta roll Andy Dalton out there. You gotta give me a game. Where's the red rifle?
Yeah, who's been shot down faster, Trey Lance or fucking Bryce Young? I think it seems like both of them within 4 games. Their fan bases were just done with them.
Trey Lance is on a roster, right? Where is he right now?
He's a Cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, that's where he ended up. Yeah. Yeah, that's not the greatest emergency glass for the Cowboys when Dak inevitably misses like 3 games again.
Not at all.
Well, I think they still have Cooper Rush too.
They do.
Oh god, yeah, great.
And he's like their QB. He was good. He was good. He held that season together when he played like 5 games in a row.
All right. Well, let me football reference this as we continue because I don't remember that. I'll gladly.
I remember.
Yeah, he started like 5 games, and I'm pretty sure they won all of them.
Fair enough. 4-1 last year. I will retract that. 5-3. 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1,051 yards. Decent, actually. I stand corrected.
Yeah, he wasn't Joe Montana, but I mean, he was good.
People were debating if they actually wanted to put Dak back in.
Maybe maybe I just hate the Cowboys so much that I just like, in one year out the other. But before we talk about the Thursday game between those two teams, I need to ask, just as someone who does not follow college football, is Caleb Williams worth the hype right now to my CFB enjoyers? Like, what is your actual opinions on him?
Go off, Brett. Go off.
Personally, think he is talented. I don't think he's as talented as everyone is projecting to be. And I think he has a very big ego, and the stuff that he's saying on social media, like, I want part ownership of whatever team I get drafted by, and if I don't like the team that gets the number 1 pick, like, I'll stay at school for another year. Like, he's trying to play this sort of, I have all the leverage, but at the end of the day, like, if you want to get paid and you want to play, like, you're going to have to play by the rules, That's the way I see it.
You go to who picks you. That's just life. And that's just how it goes. And I don't know, because like they said this. Someone said this on ESPN. It was College Game Day. And they were talking about how it's possible that this year they have the possible greatest NBA draft prospect and someone called Caleb Williams like the greatest quarterback prospect of all time coming out of college. And that is just outrageously nuts. Because like there was a difference. Because there was Andrew Luck coming out of college, and Andrew Luck obviously was very good in the NFL. And then Trevor Lawrence came along, and he was like the next like highly touted quarterback prospect coming out of college, like the big, huge, like franchise changing kind of quarterback.
Right.
The only difference is Trevor Lawrence, when he was in college, owned the ACC, and he was playing in national championships. Caleb Williams can't even beat Utah. He's 0-3 against Utah in these last 2 years. What are they, 4 losses now this season? If I'm the best quarterback in college football, and USC is no schlub. I mean, it's not like he's playing at, Western Alabama Tech of Institution. I mean, he's playing at a big school, and it's not like, he's willing this team to win. There's so many quarterbacks in this draft that I think there's a pretty high chance you pick any of them and you'll be fine. But to just say that, like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna like change the league, no, he's not. He's good. Don't get me wrong, but he ain't all that. They did like this crazy thing on some podcast. They like listed like all the different quarterbacks in the league. Who would you rather have, Caleb Williams or so and so? And it was on like some big podcast, some ESPN like co-host or something. It was like his podcast, and they were like Jalen Hurts or Caleb Williams, and they all picked Caleb Williams, and I just think that's fucking nuts. I just think that's crazy. So no, I think he'll go number 1 overall. I think he is still the best quarterback out of the group, but I don't think that it's like, holy shit, like this guy's gonna bring the Bears to the fucking Super Bowl, baby. Him and Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, no, he's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah, see, when I think of it and you think of the best QB prospect coming out of college, my first thought was immediately Peyton Manning. I feel like he was touted as like the LeBron James before LeBron James, Everyone wanted him, and he was seen as a savior of a franchise. And I mean, you did a pretty fucking good job, I would say. But I also have some recent trauma with Pac-12 picks. I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. But Like, I don't watch enough college football, but everything that I've heard and everything that I've seen has proven the fact that the Pac-12 just looks like they have a bunch of midgets running around at cornerback, and that's why everyone's throwing for 500 yards, and you've got N'Keal Harry looking like Randy Moss out there.
Too soon.
No, I mean, I think it's you guys all raise good points. I think really what it comes down to is this is a very good quarterback class compared to recent years. There's plenty of good guys coming out this year. So I think it's not necessary for any team to have to tank for Caleb Williams type. Whereas, a few years ago, Trevor Lawrence was top of the class, and there was a huge drop off after that. You could get a JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, whatever, in the second or third round. And in most other years, those guys would be first round picks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Some of those guys might go undrafted. There's that many of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I think Penix is a dog. I don't know if you saw that video of him against Oregon, and he was sitting on the sidelines, and he was rapping, and he was busting out bars, and he did a freestyle about how he's gonna go out in the field and win a game and beat Oregon in a comeback, and then he went out and beat Oregon in a comeback, and he's a dog.
Yeah.
He's a dog. I think that kid's gonna be really good, but yeah, I don't know. He's good, but I don't think he's as good as they say. I don't think he's that holy shit amazing.
I think he's being way too cocky too. He's seeing what the NBA's got with Wembanyama, and he's like, I want to be that, but he's not that. What you were saying earlier about the whole he wants to dictate where he's going, like he's Kobe or something. I just don't get that. If you want to be the number one pick, you're gonna go to a shitty team. That's how the draft works. How are you going to avoid that?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully the team that drafts him with the number one pick is able to surround him with an offensive line and, a number one receiving option, even if the other pieces don't come until later. Those are just basic things that you need to surround a quarterback with, at the end of the day, longevity is, more important than, nobody's expecting a rookie quarterback to go and win a Super Bowl in his rookie year.
Yeah.
I agree. If they can pull off the Caleb Williams 1, Marvin Harrison Jr. 2, and then he gets put into a DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert, that's a pretty good offense. And I mean, Marvin Harrison averages 10 catches in 100 yards, like a half. I mean, he's nuts. I mean, he's just an absolute dog. So he'll do good anywhere. But I mean, pair him with Caleb Williams, I think that'll just be really good. But I agree with Dr. Sasquatch. I mean, all that talk before you even played a damn second in the league is just a bad look. I mean, he's. I think someone like a TJ Watt or some good defender like that is just gonna hear that and be like, I cannot wait to put this kid on his ass.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure we didn't expect to dig that deep into the Caleb Williams rabbit hole, but yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Appreciate the insight. Amazing.
All right. So
What's next?
Enough about college. Even though I love college football, college football is good, but it's week 8. So what do we want to talk about first? Did we want to do awards first, or did we want to talk playoffs first?
Let's get playoffs. Let's get some general
playoffs.
General
right.
team play.
So before we dig into what we think is going to happen, why don't we just rattle off the standings right quick? If someone has them in front of them, perfect. I do not. I have to dig them up.
What do you want? Division leaders all the way across?
Yeah, just give me the 8 division leaders, I guess.
Sounds good.
AFC, we got the Dolphins in the East. We got the Chiefs in the West. We got the Ravens in the North, not by much. And then we got the Jags in the South by a lot. We got in the NFC, our East is the Eagles by a game or two. They got weird buys. In the West, we got the Seahawks, almost pretty much tied up, depending on the bye. The North is the Lions. They got a couple games, and then the South, which is probably the closest and most pathetic, is the Falcons at 500. But the Saints are tied at 500, so that could go either way.
Congrats, Brett.
Yeah.
They're hanging in there.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
hanging in. Pathetically, but they're hanging in.
That's all they need to do.
All right, so why don't we just go? We'll just go around the room, share with the class. Give me the 7 playoff teams. I did them in order, so I would just go from 1 to 7, or 7 to 1 for all I care. Noah, why don't you go first?
Okay. Do you want me to do AFC when we go around, or AFC? I'm assuming we'll do one conference. Okay.
AFC, hash it out. NFC, hash it out.
Okay, what's spicier, to do 1 last for the big reveal, or 7? What should we do?
I feel like 1 is the obvious one. I feel like 7 is the one. It's like who could be 7?
All right. All right. So I have, and these are probably not earth shattering. I have the Dolphins. No, Chiefs at number 1 seed. Dolphins at number 2, Ravens at number 3, Jaguars at number 4, and then we have the Bills at the 5, Bengals at the 6, and Steelers at the 7. I do think they'll sneak in right at the end there.
See that?
Brett?
So I have the Dolphins at 1, the Chiefs at 2, Ravens at 3, Jags 4, Bengals 5, Bills 6, and then Steelers 7.
I think I have the most. I think I have the most different list, so I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Kevin. Why don't you go first?
All right. I didn't even write one down, so we're free balling here. But I think, looking at it, I have more faith. I think 1 and 2, that has to be a lock, right? It's either like Dolphins and Chiefs are just duking it out at this point, and
Oh, don't even start, Spect.
I think the Chiefs, the Chiefs look a little weak this year compared to usual. I mean, I think they're gonna come in at 2, but still gonna steamroll in playoffs because they're the Chiefs. So I'm putting Dolphins at 1, Chiefs at 2. Maybe I kind of want to say Jags get 3, and I feel like something's gonna happen in the North. They're gonna start beating up on each other. Ravens are gonna falter a couple games, so I'll put Ravens at 4. Man,
Dog, my list is so wild.
I have, man, I really don't have faith in the Bills this year. I almost want to say the Bengals go off on a tear, and they take the 5, then Bills and Steelers.
Attaboy, Kevin. Attaboy.
Yeah.
All right, so I have the Chiefs 1 because they have yet to have their bye week, and I think after the bye week, I think they'll be perfectly fine. But they have looked a little odd this year.
If you lose to Denver, like they'd be 7-1, and their 7-1 game was a layup. Continue, please. I just wanted to.
So I looked at the schedules, and I have an opinion on the Dolphins, and we'll get to it when I say their names. I have the Jaguars at 2.
Ooh.
I have the Ravens at 3, and then I have the Dolphins. And the reason I have the Dolphins so low is because so they lost to the Eagles, obviously. But like, if you look at all their games, everybody that was supposed to be a tough game or a game that might be a 50-50, two big teams, they lose. They've lost. They've only had 2 of them, and they've lost them. And they got smoked by the Bills. Smoked. I mean, ran out the building by the Bills. And the Bills have been super hurt, inconsistent. And then you look at their schedule, and the Dolphins got to play the Chiefs. I think they're going to lose that game. And then they got to play the Cowboys, Ravens, and Bills to wrap up the year. That's not easy. The Jaguars, on the other hand, a little easier schedule. They got like the Titans twice. They have the Bucks, the Panthers, the Texans. I mean, they can win all those games. So, especially if the Dolphins lose to the Chiefs, I think that I'm not going to say proves, but solidifies that they just beat up on teams that they're supposed to beat up on. And I got the Bengals at 5. I just think the Bengals are back, and I think they're going to remind everyone of that, who they are. I got Bills 6, and honestly,
Ooh.
this one could have gone either. I did the Browns. I think it's hard to not make the playoffs with that defense.
That's fair. I respect that pick. I do.
But I could see the Steelers. I could see pretty much anybody but like the obvious ones. So like I could see the Steelers. I could see the Steelers, and yeah, that's about it. But yeah, I have a lower opinion of the Dolphins than most.
No, that's valid. I've seen that stat too. That everyone they beat is like their records are horrible, just absolutely atrocious.
And that game against the Eagles, it's not like it was, if
Yeah.
it was 34-33, that'd be different. But they lost by like 2 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
I wish it was a little closer. And that's the only reason. If they go out and like smoke the Chiefs, well, then maybe I'm wrong. But I think they're going to lose to the Chiefs. I personally.
Yeah. Bad news, they play the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Good news, 2 of the 3 games at the end of the season.
No, they're playing in Germany.
Yeah.
Germany.
The Chiefs are the home team.
Yeah.
So I guess that's neutral ground. That's a little bit of a dub for them. Would have been better at home, but
I think it's going to be a great game.
yeah.
I'm excited. What a way to start Sunday football right in the morning, bright and early in Germany. I'm excited. It's going to be a shootout in theory.
And for what it's worth, I have the Jags beating the Browns, the Ravens beating the Bills, the Bengals beating the. I have the Bengals upsetting the Dolphins. That's another big thing I have in the playoffs. I think once they get to the playoffs, I think Joe Burrow is going to take over. And ultimately, it wraps up to I think the Chiefs are going to be back in the playoffs. I think once they hit the playoffs, it's just going to be autopilot, and I think they're just going to be the Chiefs like they always are. And I think they're going to have a Chiefs Super Bowl again. They're not going to win. I don't think they're going to win, but that's what I think is going to happen in the AFC.
I disagree with you, Specht. I do, because
All right.
If
I had Tyreek Hill on my fantasy team, I might be singing a different tune. I respect it. I respect it. I'm not. No, it's true. I think the Dolphins have a chance. They do. So go off, Brett. Tell me.
Here's my thought process. So they just got Jalen Ramsey back.
They did.
Devon Achane is going to be back in a couple weeks. As far as the Chiefs go, they just won last year. And I think with all the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce,
oh God. Okay, sorry.
no,
Don't go off.
Huge distraction. Come playoff.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I knew you were going to say. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. And I see the Dolphins as a new, like, up-and-coming team. Like, this is Mike McDaniel's, like, kind of, like, showcase, to show that he belongs with the Bills and the Chiefs. And, he hasn't, like, when's the last time the Dolphins have made the conference title game? It's been a while.
Dude, it's probably the 70s at this point, right?
It's been a long time.
Yeah. And
Who's looking it up? I will. Continue, Brett.
Right now.
Okay.
I have Dolphins Bengals AFC Championship, and I have the Bengals winning that game.
Okay.
I would love to see Burrow back.
Bengals.
That'd be awesome. That'd be a fun one. Bengals versus anybody would be so cool. What about who do you have coming out of the AFC, Noah?
I didn't build out a full bracket, so I won't go that far. I wrote this down earlier today, and
the winner's all I need. I think the winner is all we need.
I have the AFC Championship game right now as Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens.
Cool.
And I don't know if I have much faith long term. The reason I think this now is because I think the Ravens have finally figured out the offense. They have Zay Flowers has been very impressive this season. Gus Edwards is looking like an absolute stud. The last piece that Baltimore has needed is Lamar Jackson to just show up in the playoffs. This is his, fifth-ish season, sixth season. That team is good enough to make a run. They always get in their own way as a team. And I don't know. I think that Baltimore is one of the more complete teams, if maybe one of the less exciting ones in the AFC currently. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens make it this far, but I have the Chiefs versus Ravens in the AFC Championship, and I wouldn't be surprised either way. But I do have the Chiefs winning that game.
Go ahead, Kev.
I think if the Ravens want to make it far, they're going to really have to push in this regular season to get some home field. I don't think they win that many away games. When come playoff, at least, I'll say. But
and
they
oh,
are
sorry.
4-1 away this season, which is a crazy stat.
That is a crazy stat.
It's also funny to think that the Ravens still have a bunch of injuries, and this is like the healthiest they've been in years.
Right.
Usually like the whole cornerback core is out, and they have like no pass rush. But for all things, they still are injured. But all things considered, they are healthier than usual.
Well, hey, last year they had 3 season-ending injuries to their running backs, and this year it's only 1, right? So
Yeah, Gus Edwards
we're
has
going
come
up.
on.
Improvements.
Even though they're 6-2, they very much are. I think the Ravens are kind of in the back of the conversation because, like I said, there's more exciting teams. But in terms of, like I said, the completeness of a team, I really do like the Ravens actually. But we'll see by the end of the season what that looks like. But right now, that's what I'm rolling with.
Maybe
For
they'll
some
go
reason, I don't know what it
undefeated.
is. The Dolphins, I feel like they're one more injury away from not working. I don't think, but
Especially Tyreek Hill. If Tyreek Hill gets hurt, they're done. They are done. Jalen Waddle's very good, but I think if Tyreek Hill gets hurt, then it's pretty.
I think.
No, I'm not gonna say over, but it's tough.
I mean, I know they have the Denver game bolstering it, but they are leading in points for across the AFC by like 50 points. The second closest is the Bills at 222. So
Was that the
if
Dolphins or the Ravens?
that's the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Well,
So
it's
the
because they had that.
Dolphins keep it
Yeah,
up.
but take out
That's what
that
I'm saying.
one game. Take out that
You could
one.
take away
that one
like
game.
realistically take away 40 points from that, and that
Take away 40 points, they're still top of the table by
oh, that's what I
10
mean.
points.
But still, like
yeah.
that's you still got like a 10-point lead over the Bills. But
Yeah, so I think
yeah.
if they can keep the offense firing, then they should be all set. But that's if, because we've seen they stopped to a dead halt in those 2 games they lost pretty much.
All right, let's
Yeah.
spin it back around and oh. Go ahead, Brett. Go off.
Oh, they're one of those teams that like when they're hot, they get really hot, but when they're cold, they get ice cold. There's no in between with the Dolphins. You know, it's either like they put up 30 plus, or you see like the game against when they play the Patriots. You know, there's certain teams that will let Tyreek Hill go off. The Patriots are not one of those teams, and Tua was taking what the Patriots defense was giving him, and he was checking down, and the score ended up being a lot closer than it really should have been. But they have the capability of basically scoring 30 plus anytime they want to.
Yeah, if those 4 big games that I mentioned, the Chiefs, the Bills, if they can win at least 2 of those big games, then maybe I'm wrong. But I'm still gonna stick with the fact that I want to see them beat someone. I don't want to see them just raw dog the Giants 106-4. Like I want to see them actually beat a good team. But let's spin it around back to the NFC and let's go back to.
I don't. Did Kevin share? Did you share your AFC Championship game, Kevin?
Oh yeah,
like who's
Kevin,
coming out?
AFC.
I don't think we heard from. Okay.
Championship game.
This is off the cuff, people.
Off the
He
cuff, yeah.
has not put any thought into this.
I don't do my homework. I wanna put faith in the Bengals. I wanna see my boy Burrow back in the Super Bowl. But I'm at least putting them in the conference. From there, I feel like this is one of those years where, like I said, the Chiefs look a little weaker, and I think this could really come down to standings. Any little shift, and you could see a huge change in the entire the entire bracket here, but I'm gonna go what I think would be a really good game. I want to see Bengals Dolphins, and I have faith that both those teams can make it. And just kind of off personal preference, I would like to see the Bengals make the Super Bowl. Like I said, I want to see them back.
That'd be fun. It would be fun. All right, now let's spin it around and go back to Noah for the NFC.
Okay. Okay, let's do it. Number 1, I do have the Philadelphia Eagles, and number 2, I have the 49ers. I'm sure we'll discuss the 49ers at length in a moment, but number 3, we got the Lions. Number 4, I do have the Saints winning the South. Want to point that out. I think they'll pull that out. 5, Cowboys. 6, I don't know. I can't explain this. I'll go to 7 first. 7, I have the Vikings. I think the Vikings will still somehow eke this out once that team is a bit healthier. Obviously not Kirk Cousins, but when Justin Jefferson is back. Number 6, I actually have the Washington Commanders making their way in. I like that team. Okay, I'm making eye contact with you without you realizing it, Spect. The NFC is rather weak, and honestly, those last 2 spots could go to a lot of different teams. There's a lot of teams that are in that 3 to 5 to 5-3 range, and I think those could shift quite a bit. And I think the Commanders, even though they just lost to the Eagles, they played them tough. That team's starting to click. And in theory, they have a layup game against the Patriots to build some more momentum. I do like the Commanders, and I'll stand by it.
I love the Commanders. I want them to win, but they did just trade their 2 best defenders.
I was just about to say, yeah, they traded they're pretty much their whole line right there. But continue.
I know.
Right?
I would kill to see Sam Howell whipping that thing around in the playoffs. You kidding me? Like, all right. And Brett,
Me?
you.
So I have the Eagles number 1, obviously. Number 2, I have the 49ers. I'm honestly not worried, like, with their current injuries that they have going on right now. And, they have lost, 3 in a row now. But I'm really not worried. I think they'll get it back on, this week. I think this week is their get-right game. Number 3, I have the Detroit Lions. Love the Lions. Number 4, I do have the Saints. No surprise to anyone here. Number 5 is the Seattle Seahawks. I think it's going to come down to like one game late in the season between the Seahawks and the 49ers to see who gets the division.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I should have put I don't know why I did not put the Seahawks. I just forgot they existed. Take out the Commanders. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I'm sorry, Brett. Continue.
Yeah, fuck Sam Howell. He sucks anyways.
No, I don't know. I don't know how I forgot the Seahawks because I do like that team. I don't want to take away from your time, Brett, but
I
just
didn't even realize they were doing that good until ESPN started talking about it. I was like, the Seahawks are how good? And then I started watching. I was like, oh damn. Anyways, Brett.
Yeah, so number 6, I have the Cowboys. And then my number 7, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I don't have them, but like that's fun. They're fun to watch. Team.
They could make a push. They could die out and go fucking 3-14 for the rest of the season. Like who fucking knows? They're a weird team.
Well, see, the thing is Baker's on a 1-year deal. Mike Evans is on a 1-year deal, and want to get paid. Mike Evans. This is, I think, he's turning like age 31 at the end of the year. So like, this is really his last like big contract. And Baker, the last couple of years has just been bouncing from team to team. I'm sure he would like to lock up a long-term deal somewhere. So I think that's added motivation for the Bucks. And I think they're just fun to watch, and I would love to see them in the play.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Kevlar Gaming.
I'm about to blow it all up right here.
Oh boy.
It's Kev's turn. I have a pretty normal list.
I know what's. I have a feeling I know what's coming.
Schedule. I'm gonna say it. Lions number 1.
I knew you were gonna say it.
Yeah, brother.
Why not, man? Why not?
I'm looking through the Lions schedule Chargers, Bears, Packers, Saints, Bears, Broncos, Vikings, I almost said Lions, Cowboys, Vikings. Only the Cowboys are really a good team there. We'll see about the Vikings. Really depends on how their quarterback works out, right? But other than that, I think those are all winnable. I think those are very winnable games for the Lions. You look at the Eagles, they're the complete opposite. This is starting this week. Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys, Seahawks.
Oh yeah, they go through hell. They go through hell.
That's a
In a
gauntlet.
vacuum, they can win every single one of those games. Put all 5 of them in a row, they're dropping at least 2 of those, I think, especially near the end. I think maybe they beat the Cowboys this week, and then the Cowboys come back and get revenge. That's one game. If the Niners can turn around, if Debo gets healthy by December 3rd, I'm not just saying that for my fantasy. I think that offense is really missing him right now. I think he had a bigger impact than we realize. But,
Kev's like, if Debo can come back healthy, please, God, anything, I'm begging you.
Debo, if you can hear me.
hey, he played
Debo,
all the
I know
games.
you're watching.
He played all the games, and then he got injured in the Browns, and they've lost every game since. So
It is true.
the facts don't lie. But
We'll just ignore
even though the
Brock
Lions
Purdy's
are number 1,
performance.
Eagles are number 2. I think that's they're gonna be near the top. I don't think it's gonna be number 1 though. After that, because of Debo, I like how the Seahawks are playing. I want to put the Seahawks at 3. And then, somehow, I guess we gotta give the 4 slot to someone in the South, right? Like legally speaking.
Yes, actually, yes.
Oh.
Contractually speaking, yes.
So legally, I guess we'll give it to the Falcons because every week when I'm looking at my fantasy scores, I'm like, Falcons, they're gonna steamroll that team, and then the Falcons always ruin my scores. So I got to put some respect on their name. We'll put them at 4. Coming in at 5, I think the Cowboys sneak into 5, and the Niners fall to 6. Yeah. We thought they were a Death Star, but I don't know. They're just not clicking. They should have won some of those games, and they just couldn't. But at number 7, I don't know. Do we have to give a number 7 to someone? Can we just
Did you say that? Wait, hold on. I need to pause for a second. Did you say the 49ers yet?
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
did at
Yeah.
6.
Okay, I was
the
laughing
Cowboys
too hard to
are the
realize. Okay.
Yeah. No, because of. No, I'm not saying that. I don't know. It's tough, but I really want to see the Seahawks. I want Geno to get that division title, like you were saying, Noah. I want Geno to get that division title, but then it's like I look at the Cowboys and the Niners fighting for that 5th spot, and I mean, I don't know.
Wait, did you say the Cowboys yet?
Yeah,
He
I said
put them at
Cowboys
5.
Niners at 6, because the Niners also have a pretty difficult schedule, and the Cowboys it's also they got pretty comparable schedules, and they're tied in the standings right now. So I'm not sure. I think that's a toss up. Those 2 they can share 5 and 6, and then 7 I don't fucking know. How about we'll give it to the Saints just because I want to make Brett happy.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friendship wins.
It would be really cool if Dobbs can carry the Vikings to 7, though. I will say that.
That would be a Cinderella story for sure.
It would be a Cinderella story.
I think Dobbs can do it. I really do. With a healthy offense around him.
I liked him on the Cardinals. I don't know why they just decided to throw him away.
If the Vikings,
Clayton Tune is the future of Arizona football.
Oh,
Yeah, college football fans, can you tell me a little bit about Clayton Tune?
not a single thing now.
get some Clayton Tune lore going.
It's a damn shame.
Is his name Clayton?
Clayton Tune, yep.
he was set up for failure 24 years ago.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
about to say,
no.
you can't trust him with anything.
Yeah, Clayton. Let's see. Okay, does anyone want to take a guess where he went to college?
I just looked him up, so I can't say.
Okay.
I'm, fucking, I don't know, San Diego State.
We mentioned them earlier.
Oh, Utah.
He did go to Utah.
Let's go.
Yeah, he went to Utah. A nice, fresh fifth round pick rather, not fifth. Jesus. Let's see. What did he do? Not Wikipedia. Can I have? No, I don't need his NFL stats. I want his college stats
Well,
because I bet
his
there is-
Wikipedia said he went to Houston, not Utah.
Hey,
Oh, sorry, UH. Duh. Fucking, I saw the U, and I was like, Utah.
you lied to me.
I did lie to you. I just blatantly, just flat out lied to you. Okay, here we go. In his last year at Houston, he was first off, he was a fifth-year player. He got that extra year from COVID. 67.3% completion, 4,000 yards, a 40 TDs, 10 picks with a 158 rate is pretty good in college. But still, who the fuck is that? I have no idea.
How are his
Any-
cone?
Yeah, how are his cone drills? Now we're asking the
Yeah,
questions.
that exactly.
Yeah, the combine. I need to go find. Okay, hold on. Let me get Clayton's combine stats.
Poor guys to face the Browns in his first start, and like it's funny saying that as a sentence, but the Browns are like they're statistically the best pass defense in the league. Poor guy
Yeah.
is getting thrown right in there. So
They're like
They're like the
They're
best
like-
everything in the league.
they're like bridging on historically good defense. Like I mean,
Yeah.
they're really good. My list is not as exciting. I guess I do have no. I guess I don't. So I have the Eagles at one. You know, for the obvious reasons. They have. I see what Kevin is saying. Kevin made a good point that I did not realize. But they've beat like good teams. They beat the Dolphins. I'm not going to say handedly, but they beat the Dolphins pretty good. So I think they could run that gauntlet, and you know, even if they drop one or two, I don't think that's the end of the world. So I have the Eagles at one. I have the Lions at two because I love them. They're so damn good. I toyed with this. I almost did what Kevin did. I almost had the Seahawks 3 in the 49ers. But I went with the 49ers at 3 just because that defense is just insane. And then I have the Falcons at 4. I think the Falcons with Taylor Heineke will be a different Falcons. I really do. I think Taylor Heineke's a dog, and I think he's going to go out there and do pretty well. Fuck off, Brett, you Saints homer. I don't want to hear it.
Brett's punch in the air.
No.
There. I think. Oh, where did I go? My camera's gone. What happened?
We lost you.
Kyle Pitts.
You close the tab. Nice job.
Did I? Well, I'll just keep going. I'm
You're
good,
back.
Mr. Pricker. I'm back. Okay. I didn't do anything. And then at 5, I have the Cowboys. You will find out how much of a Cowboys believer I am in just a couple seconds. I have the Seahawks at 6 and the Saints at 7. But I might change that because fuck you, Brett. Don't nod at me. I could see the Bucks. I do like the Bucks. I think the Bucks could be fun. But I got the Lions beating the Saints. I got the Seahawks upsetting the 49ers. I got the Cowboys just running the fucking Falcons out of the building. And then the Eagles beating the Seahawks, and then I have the Cowboys beating the Lions to just to hold on, relax.
Well, no. Okay, finish your thought.
The Cowboys are going to beat the Lions in a close. I think it'll be the game of the playoffs. I think it'll be super exciting. Cowboys beat the Lions, and then they lose to the Eagles, and I think we have a Chiefs-Eagles rematch.
You're forgetting the important fact that the Cowboys haven't been in an NFC championship since before we were born.
Listen, man, it has to happen eventually.
Yes, when they're not like maybe at best the 5th best team in the conference.
Yeah.
Hold on now. Let's take
But-
a look.
Go around the table here. Who Kevin?
Okay, hold
Who
on.
do you? Okay,
You made
yeah.
you said that they haven't been in a championship game before we were born. Neither have the Dolphins, and you guys have the Dolphins making a deep run. What's the difference?
I don't have
You
them
did it,
in
you
the
did it,
conference
but-
championship, so
We talked about it earlier. I don't know if Kevin ended up saying it. 1993 was the last time
Yeah.
they at least won. I don't know if that was, yeah. And then before that, it was even longer. So yeah. So
Yeah, they made it there in 1993, but or are you talking? Wait, you talking the
Oh no, they
Cowboys?
lost. They lost. No, the Dolphins. I'm talking Dolphins. They lost
Dolphins.
29-10 against the Bills back when the Bills were just professional losers.
Yeah. Before that, surprisingly enough, the AFC Championship before that was 1985, where they lost to the Patriots, who then got blown out by the Bears.
That famous game.
Yep.
But yeah, I like the Cowboys. I think they are still the Cowboys. I understand that, but they got a good complete team. They got I know Diggs is out, but decent secondary. Micah Parsons is like one of the best defenders in the league. And then I've always liked Dak. I know I'm like one of the few, but I've always liked Dak. I think this year they got a real chance. I think they're not going to make the Super Bowl, but I think they got a chance.
Okay, Lord.
Say that again, Brett.
I said, okay, Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, I'll put money on that.
Do it then.
Um,
Live.
Kevin, who do you got in the NFC Championship game?
All right, so
or do you want us to give you a minute while we go around?
no, first off, I totally forgot about bracketing, so I'll have to actually come back and revisit the AFC. But I'm looking at it, and to make my bracket work, I'm gonna have to make a little change. I'm putting the Niners at 5 and the Cowboys at 6. I'm swapping them because even though I'm riding with the Lions and I'm putting them at 1, I think that when it comes to playoff time, the Eagles and Niners just steamroll through everyone. And end of the day, I I think the Eagles edge it out because they'll have home field at the end in that conference final. So I think that we'll see the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Brett.
Interesting. So I have the 49ers beating the Bucks. The Lions beating the Cowboys. And then the Seahawks beating the Saints in the first round. Then I have the Seahawks upsetting the Eagles. And I have the 49ers beating the Lions, setting up a NFC West NFC Championship game with the 49ers against the Seahawks.
I didn't realize you were going like by round. So you were like, yeah, the Bucks lose, and I was like, this guy has the Bucks in the NFC Championship, and no one's gonna say anything.
No, so I have 49 Seahawks NFC, and I have the 49ers winning that.
Wow. Bold.
I would love to see a division matchup in an AFC conference or AFC fucking conference championship. You know what I'm saying? No matter the conference, give me a division matchup in the conference final. That's what I want.
That would be sexy.
I'll run mine real quick. Like again, I don't have a full bracket. I do think we're gonna have a 49ers Eagles NFC Championship, and I have the Eagles winning that. So that leads me to I think we're gonna have a Chiefs Eagles rematch in the Super Bowl, and I'm here for it. That was a really fucking good game this year.
I have Jason winning this time because that's how I picture it in my head. Jason.
It'd be nice. It would be nice. I think that yeah.
I just think that I've been reading some crazy stuff. I haven't like gone out and looked for it, but I've seen like articles about how like someone told like their mom, like Jason and Travis's mom, that like the PR that they do for the league is like insane, and that like they would have had to pay like someone told like Donna Kelsey this, like we would have to pay millions for a PR firm to get us this much, like exposure, but you and your kids are doing it for free. And I think the NFL will rig it so that Jason gets a Super Bowl, because I think that would just be like a perfect Disney storybook ending. So yeah, I got the
How,
Eagles winning that one.
how old is
Right.
Jason Kelsey? Does he retire if he wins?
He's older.
Yeah,
Yeah.
retirement age. And if he wins the Super Bowl, then he definitely solidifies himself as like a top.
Yeah, 35 as a
5 center of
center.
all time?
That is pretty done.
35 as like the league's like one of the best centers too. It's not just
Yeah.
like he's a center. He's like top in the league. Like not the best. There's some pretty good centers out there, but
I think we should write that down. Note that future podcast. I want the top 5 list of irrelevant positions. Give me centers. Give me tackles. Give me all that punters.
yeah,
Top 5 punters.
best outside special teamers. Gunnar Olszewski.
We love him. So we both have Eagles Chiefs with Eagles winning spec, right?
And then I think they both have the Bengals, don't you?
Yeah, let's turn it over to you guys then. Brett, what do you got?
Yeah, I have Bengals 49ers Super Bowl. And I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning the Super Bowl this year.
What a story.
Ride the hype.
I would love it.
They beat the Niners this week. Let's all run with them. It's going to be the Bengals this year. That's what I'm hoping.
That'd be some comeback. Down 0-3, 0-4? Were they 0-4 or 0-3 at the beginning?
They were
0-3.
They were 0-3.
That'd be crazy.
Let's double check
That'd
that.
be crazy. Weren't they the last team to go 0-3 and then still make the playoffs anyways? So like if they did
Yeah, I think they did that just last year, didn't they? Or the year before?
They're virtually like the same team. So
This is the thing too. Joe Burrow has like an insane road record in the playoffs. Like he can win it anywhere. So I think if we can put faith in that, he can push through any bracket that he gets set up in.
I love Joe. Joe's a dog. LSU guy. Classic. Man, there we go. We're all except for some of the seedings. It seemed like we were pretty in agreement, minus a couple wild card guys, but nothing earth shattering in the NFC. It seems. But yeah, that's what I got, and I'm sticking to it. Rematch.
Bengals. They weren't as doomsday as we thought. They were 1-2, and then they went to 1-3, and then that's when they started rattling off wins.
I think it might have been the Vikings was the team we were kind of running the stats for because we all expected a bit more from them.
Oh, see, if the poor Vikings were what I thought, because I love the Vikings as we know, I thought they'd be like 6-2 by now, and I thought their 2 losses would be the Eagles and the Niners, but they beat those guys, and then they were like having trouble with the Panthers. If Kirk Cousins could have just gotten them to like 6-2, 5-3, I think we could realistically talk about them being in the playoffs. But I don't think they could. I don't think they squeeze it out anymore. I think they lost their
big
chance.
question mark. I mean, they do have a favorable schedule, so
They do.
and it kind of shows are they going to be ready? So they have the Falcons, which we all put as a playoff team, even though they are the worst playoff team pretty much. Then they got.
They
the
might
Saints,
make it with a losing record. They might be 8-9 or whatever.
But I mean, you look at Falcons, Saints, Broncos, Bears, Raiders, Packers is on there. Those are all pretty winnable games if Josh Dobbs can actually play like a good quarterback. But Bengals and Lions twice, I don't really have faith in them to win those ones. So they could make a push if they're lucky.
I agree. I like the Vikings, but I think they might have missed their chances because they didn't start off as hot as I was hoping they would. And we can't talk midseason, we can't talk playoffs without passing out some awards. So why don't we get our notes out, fellas? I think we got to do MVP last. It's the most exciting one. I don't know, Kevin. Did you do any research for any of these?
Nope, I'm sitting out on a lot of these here.
Okay.
Especially Rookie of the Year. I ain't.
Well, the offensive.
Well, I mean,
the Player of the Year. I feel like you can do the rookies. The rookie defensive one. Probably not. I don't think you'll get it. But
it could have been Christian Gonzalez. It could have been.
You can't. But... You I think you'll be all right with offensive Rookie of the Year. I think.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with the first non-player one. Let's do a Coach of the Year first. I don't know if you guys did any research to that. I did. I just noticed it wasn't on there, but I think it's pretty easy.
This one's a layup. If
I got Dan Campbell winning Coach of the
I didn't write it down, but of course.
With an honorable Mike McDaniels mention.
Yeah.
Sure.
I like it.
I think it really depends on their final records, though, right? We all know these awards just go to the team with the best record, pretty much.
I definitely am. I'm definitely thinking in a way that whoever votes on this probably isn't. I'm compiling what the Lions were when Dan Campbell took over to what he's made them now. You know, because I mean they were atrocious when he took over. They were so bad, and he like really turned the whole franchise around. It took him 3 years, but I think if they make the playoffs, especially if they're a 1 or a 2 seed like we were talking about, I think it's an easy coach of the year. Easy.
Yeah. If they can take the 1 seed, for sure. If they don't get the 1 seed, if they fall to 3, maybe yeah. Well, they're not falling to 4. There's no fucking way. But if they fall to 3, and Miami's able to get that number 1, I there's just a lot of talk about McDaniel right now. You know,
Right.
he's just hyped up in the media. What it is earned in a lot of it, but
Yeah, they're both darling enough that I think as long as both teams stay the course, I'd be fine with either one winning. They would both make sense.
my darling Dan Campbell, look at that
Yeah,
face.
no, they're like media
That's a
darlings. Yeah,
darling
we
face
love them
if
all.
I've ever
Dude,
seen it.
I would run through a wall for Dan Campbell, and I don't even play for the Lions. All right. The next one, which this one took a little research. I'm not really watching rookies on defense, but defensive rookie of the year.
I got my pick.
After research, this one didn't like. This is the one that like didn't come to mind. I had to like kind of dig for this one. It seems like the consensus statistically and like punctually is Devon Witherspoon has some pretty nasty stats. He's a secondary player in Seattle, and I mean he's got the picks, he's got the tackles, he's got the breakups. I mean he's doing pretty good. And then there's another kid in New York that is also doing good. But I picked Devon Witherspoon just based off stats.
Okay. I went a different direction. I went I watch a lot of Eagles games because, my dad's
I'm
an
with you,
Eagles,
Brett.
and I was also week 1 in Gillette, and I watched Jalen Carter just destroy our offensive line. Granted, it's our offensive line, but I think he's an absolute animal. Going back to Georgia, he should have been the number 1 pick had there not been off the field issues and injury issues with him. But going into the draft, he was the consensus number 1, and he fell to the Eagles at number 10. And, the Eagles are making all those teams regret passing on him. And I think he will win Rookie of the Year defensively.
I'm with you.
He was on my short list. Kevin?
What do you say, Kev?
Spitting this one out, Kev?
Who made the argument?
This one I don't have. You know what the argument is that Jalen Carter is leading in odds right now for
There you go.
bets. So
No, there you go.
That's the
Witherspoon
insight we're
right
looking
behind him,
for.
though.
What a pivot from Kevin to start bringing up Vegas.
That's all I'm gonna be doing for the next one too. Let's go offensive right here.
You
can't do
should know the
Rookie of
offensive one.
Year?
I won't lie.
This is a layup.
Just straight up.
Oh, hold on, Noah. Hold
haven't
on.
paid attention to the class.
It's a layup.
I don't even know who's a rookie.
All right, ready, Noah? On 1, 3, 2, 1.
Puka.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Who
have,
else?
I have
It could be Devon, but it's not because he's hurt.
I have like 3. I had Puka is the obvious one. If Gibbs can do what he's done the last 2 games,
Okay.
2, 3 more times, could be Gibbs. And then you always got to throw a quarterback in there because most awards are quarterback awards. I had CJ Stroud if I had to pick a quarterback.
Yeah, I was back and forth between Stroud and I was going back and forth between a couple guys, but Puka, I mean, I think is like where he was drafted like helps his case too, because nobody expected him to really contribute at all this year, and what he did in Cooper Kupp's absence, like granted it was in the beginning of the year, still like if he continues, like I don't expect him to continue up those like week 1 through 4 numbers, but if he can like be a consistent like wide receiver 2 going forward, then I think he has a solid case. But if CJ Stroud can somehow will the Texans to a wild card, then that would be CJ Stroud's like case of winning. But he's gonna rattle off some wins, or else it's hands down going to Puka.
I'm curious to see. I'm trying to find it. So Puka was picked. Puka was picked 177th overall, and he was the 20th wide receiver taken in the draft. He wasn't even the only receiver taken in the 5th. So I'm trying to find a list of who was drafted before Puka, because
Fucking
I love looking at that list, like, of people drafted before that fucking bum from ASU. We had Nikhil
N'Keal Harry.
Harry. I love looking at that list of just like dogs drafted before friggin' Nikhil Harry. So I'm curious to see on who was picked before Puka. Let me see if I can.
I got
Well,
a
I
list
guess
if you need it.
do
In
it.
Nikhil's, you're
Rattle out.
looking for the people after, because you're looking at the reverse here, where
Oh yeah, so I guess it's I forget
Yeah.
you're right, the other way around. Yeah,
but
so I'm
Puka, you're
curious.
looking who was taken before him and seeing if there's any bums there. Which 20 receivers,
'Cause
I'm sure there's someone there.
I bet there's guys who haven't played snaps.
Which talking about rookie receivers, this is the only one I knew. I didn't think he had a chance, but I have Addison on my team, so I knew he was a rookie. And if Kirk didn't get hurt, you might have seen a flipped situation there where Puka was really good when Cup was gone, and then now Addison is just an absolute dog while Jefferson isn't there. And I'm looking at the odds. He is listed 5th, but I think that's going to fucking fall off real fast. Unless for some reason Josh Dobbs is a god in Minnesota. But this is just showing what I was already thinking is whenever it comes to offense, it's a QB award because CJ Stroud is leading in betting right now.
It's sad that it is a QB award, but
So I
so
mean,
just
I think Brett made a good point, I think it was Brett who said if the Texans make a wild card, that's a big boost. I gotta
Agreed.
they gotta agree there. I mean, I don't think the Rams are making the playoffs in the NFC East. East. Why did I say East? The NFC. I don't know. I just don't see it, especially when they have to play both the Seahawks and the Niners in their division.
Yeah, I will say, just to put some respect on his name, Zay Flowers is having a great rookie year too.
He is.
He would have to like really kind of like pop off, like touchdown wise. He's getting a ton of receptions and a ton of yards after the catch, but he only has 2 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
If he, get some more like passing touchdowns, or receiving touchdowns. I don't know why I said passing, but yeah, if he could get some more receiving touchdowns, then he could maybe get in the conversation. But
He's not top 5 right now, though.
no,
So the odds right now sit CJ Stroud 1, Puka Nacua 2nd. 3rd is Jahmyr Gibbs. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs. Bijan Robinson is at 4, and then Jordan Addison at 5.
yeah, I thought the same thing, Noah. I was like, oh really? For
Yeah.
what?
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at some of these people drafted before Puka, it's not as bad as I was expecting. So I'm just gonna rattle off a couple of them because they're, like I said, they're not that bad. Jackson Smith-Njigba was the first wide receiver taken off the board, the 20th pick. He's not doing nearly as good as I thought he would be doing in Seattle. Quentin Johnson, who actually isn't that bad, he's on the Chargers. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Jonathan Mingo, Rashee Rice, Marvin Mims, Tank Dell. Once you start getting past Tank Dell, does anybody know Trey Tucker? No,
Nope.
no,
Nope.
Trey Tucker. Justin Shorter? That sounds like a white guy. Is he white? Hold on. Okay, no, that man is not white. Yeah, I guarantee you, Charlie Jones, Tyler Scott, Justin Shorter, and Dontavian Wicks, who were the 4 guys picked before, have probably have not played a snap of football in the NFL. So hey, good on the Rams for figuring that one out. One of these guys has to be white. That's a white name. No, come on, come on. Oh, there he
Important
is.
details.
Charlie Jones, white. That guy is white. He went to Purdue naturally. So yeah. So I mean, hey, good for the Rams finding that. I mean, what's it like to draft a receiver? Tell me, Rams fans. I mean,
Yeah.
like a good one at least.
Hey, this week, Booty
We'll
Pop
find out.
coming in.
Yeah.
We'll find
Booty
out.
is
Booty
back,
Pop
baby.
coming in.
Fun fact: Booty was on this list too, but I think he was actually picked after Puka Nakua. He was two
Well, there,
picks
yeah,
after.
they were both Douglas and Booty were 6 rounders, right?
At least Booty was. I don't see Douglas. Oh, yeah, there he is. Hardly. He was like one of the last picks of the 6th round.
Still counts,
Liberty
baby.
guy. But yeah, so I think it's gonna end up being Puka just because like all the records he set at the beginning of the year. But we'll move on to players that Kevin might actually know. We'll do defensive player of the year. Uh I put I don't think it's gonna be. I have TJ Watt as an honorable mention just because eventually he'll be up there in sacks and being doubled and whatnot. I have Miles Garrett because he's the best player on the best defense. He doesn't necessarily lead in every stat, but he is dominating this year. I mean, he's like so insane. So I have Miles Garrett.
I'm with you there. I also have Miles Garrett.
My man,
Um,
my man.
Same reason you just said, like best defensive player on the best right now. If that holds up, there's no reason why, you know, he won't win defensive player of the year. Um, even if like he doesn't lead the league in sacks, like I'm pretty sure he leads the league in pressures.
Oh yeah.
So
I've got Miles myself. TJ Watt was listed kind of as a 1B situation, but I do have Garrett right now.
Well, why don't we look at the odds?
Thanks, Kev.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking about it. All right, so right now it is indeed Miles Garrett, but that kind of surprises me honestly because I always all these awards I always pair it with like I don't agree with it, but your team needs a good record for you to get this award. Otherwise, you're just seen as irrelevant. Like, yeah, you were good, but your team sucks. So were you good? Type deal.
See, I think that's
So
different because to me, I've said this about MVP awards in basketball, especially. I think the way defensive player of the year, I feel like you have to be good. But if you win most valuable player, which to me means without you, they don't win. I think with the player of the year awards, it's more individual. So I disagree, but
it
I do see your point.
well, it no, it should be individual is what I'm saying. So we
Yeah.
agree. But I know the status quo is that you need a good team.
Yes.
So it's like I don't agree with it, but they kind of need a good team. So I'm surprised that Micah Parsons isn't leading.
Way yeah, I thought
But
the same thing earlier.
to be said, or to be fair, he it's only plus 200 to plus 225. So they're pretty much right there. And I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll go with Miles Garrett for now, but I think if the Browns don't get their record to something better, if they finish below 800, I think, assuming these two players pretty much just continue their trend, Micah Parsons will probably take it instead, just because it's Cowboys.
I do think there is stock to be put in the fact that the Browns aren't bad because of their defense. It's not like their defense isn't winning games and then, like, and he's just the best player on the team. It's not his fault that, PJ Walker is the quarterback and Deshaun Watson forgot how to play football. But I do see your point because like you said, it's just a fact that typically they are on a winning team.
Yeah.
But I have him as a playoff team personally, as you know. But yeah, I thought that one was kind of a short list. It was like him, Micah Parsons, and TJ is kind of really all it. And that's probably going to be like that for another few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then throw Nick Bosa in there too because he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's on the list.
am curious about this one because I feel like oftentimes whoever the offensive player of the year is ends up being MVP. Part of me wanted to make it two different people, but I know that's not how it works. I think an easy offensive player of the year is Tyreek Hill.
100%.
Yeah.
That's who I have.
I think
And
we all agree on that easily.
And I also think because there's not really much of a, it's the same to me, it's the same conversation. I think he's the MVP candidate right now too. He has to be odds wise. He has to be too the MVP candidate.
Yeah, if he gets 2,000 yards and doesn't get it, I'm gonna be mad.
That's rigged. Oh yeah,
Rigged.
if Patrick Mahomes gets an MVP again, and Tyreek Hill runs the league out the building, I think that's outrageous. But I do have honorable mentions for CMC at Offensive Player of the Year, just because he's like a touchdown machine.
Yeah.
And AJ Brown, who is not that far behind Tyreek Hill.
He's
He only had. Go ahead. You go off, Brett. You're an Eagles guy.
No, I just said he's catching up.
He is catching up. He's only down, I think it's like 1,100 to like 950 or something like that. Not that far. I mean, AJ Brown can put up 150 in a game.
Yeah.
And it's 8 touchdowns for Tyreek and 5 for AJ Brown. Again, that's not that outrageous. So I think it's close. I really do. I think it's close. And they just do it in two different ways. Obviously, Tyreek is just more exciting because he runs so fast. But AJ Brown is just out manning people. I mean, he is just big bodying everyone. And I would like to see him win because he's very good. But I do think it'll be Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
What do the odds say, Kevin?
The odds, I didn't even look it up because I thought it was going to be such a shoo-in for Tyreek.
It has to be.
Not with MVP, though. I think MVP, they're going to throw on quarterbacks because it's always a fucking quarterback. And it's should we even bother looking up offensive? I think that's Tyreek no matter what. But you know what? We'll see who's second. So, the odds go Tyreek by a landslide, and then AJ Brown second. So it goes plus 150, plus 800. So big gap, but like you're saying, stats he can make that up. Jamar Chase is third, but with 2,200, so very far behind.
Wow.
And then
CMC?
Stephon Diggs. So this is very clearly saying they want to give a wide receiver offensive player of the year. They want to save the quarterbacks for MVP.
I'm looking at DraftKings right now. I'm just gonna I'll let Kevin read it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tyreek Hill is 8th in odds for MVP.
Oh
Yep.
my god! Better put NFL in there because Jokic popped up when I typed in MVP 2023.
What a pivot! Now we're talking about basketball, Kevin. That was a great segue.
Holy shit! He's number one. This is Fox. What do you? Oh,
Who do
okay,
you
no.
have?
All right. The first little ad on Google said Trevor Lawrence at 1, and I was like, what? No, this.
Yeah, I don't know about
So
that.
this one in Fox is saying, yet again, Patrick Mahomes in first, which I don't see that.
DraftKings has Tua in first.
Yeah, Tua was second on Fox. So let's go to the one that I've been using all this time for consistency. Yeah, okay, so I've been using Sharp Football Analysis, and Tua is first. Patrick Mahomes is second. But then we have Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy. It doesn't even have Tyreek on this list.
Imagine.
That is disgusting.
That's a crime.
On DraftKings, Brock Purdy only has like 200 plus more odds to win the MVP. So that means they're really close. That's outrageous. If he doesn't win, I'm gonna guess that he's probably gonna end the year with 15, 16 touchdowns into 2,000 yards. He's already at like 1,200 almost. So if he gets 2,000 yards, that's like a lock.
Well, we're halfway through, so just double it, right?
Yeah, so 20,
yeah.
2,200. So yeah, 16 touchdowns, 2,300 yards or whatever the hell. That'd be insane. That's like the shit I do in Madden franchise.
Okay, let me pull this up then. 2021, Cooper Kupp has one of the greatest wide receiver seasons of all time, right? 1,947 yards, 16 touchdowns, and he finished third in MVP voting behind Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady.
Didn't get the 2K. It's that number, that 2.
So,
Very
you
good
know,
addition to
yeah,
one.
it makes you wonder, because a historic season and still finished behind Rodgers and Brady. And by the way, Brady should have won that MVP. I'll keep saying it, but neither here nor there.
I mean, he cleared out every stat. He beat Rodgers in every single one except for like 2, and they weren't even like important stats. It was like
Rodgers had like
completion
less
percentage.
interceptions, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, it was like interceptions and completion percentage, and it's like, oh, cool. And Brady threw for more yards, more touchdowns. Like,
That's not even being a homer. Like the stats, just everything.
Yeah.
Like just right down the list. Just
you know
makes
how I
sense.
am with numbers, dog. I always pull out the numbers whenever we're coming into our group chat arguments, and they don't lie.
I think Tyreek Hill could win MVP if he gets 2,000 yards, like 16 plus touchdowns, and the Dolphins get like first round bye. He needs all of those 3 things to happen, and probably like Mahomes to kind of have like a dip in the second half.
Yeah, if Mahomes even has like a reasonable second half, those jerk offs are going to be creaming their pants to give Patrick Mahomes another MVP.
See, the thing
I've
is,
got Tua.
the
Someone to
Chiefs
throw it out there.
really good this year. So it hasn't been like just Mahomes carrying them. The defense has been above average. I'm looking right now; they're averaging 287 yards per game, which is 4th best in the league.
I just want to point this out, which I mean, like R.I.P. my man, but the passing touchdown leader right now is Kirk Cousins.
Too
But
soon, man.
Can you
I
guess
would
who
die
is
for Kirk
sitting?
Cousins.
Can you guess who is sitting above Patrick Mahomes right now? Pat Mahomes is 5th, by the way, with 15.
Who's above Mahomes?
Who is in 4th place?
Josh Allen?
It's Russell Wilson with 16
Oh.
touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of caught on to the sneaky season he's having, actually.
Well, like how are you like 2nd place in MVP voting when you're 3rd in yards and 5th in touchdowns?
Because you're winning games, you know.
And I'm pretty sure he's absolutely atrocious on his interceptions right now, right?
He has quite a bit.
This
He has
is-
quite a few.
I think they put up the stat.
Russell?
This is no. Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes.
I'm sure Russell probably has tons of them, but
Russell Wilson only has 4 picks.
He's got a 16-4 ratio. Does
good.
Wilson?
because I thought I saw the stat where if the trends continued as they were, Patrick Mahomes would finish with a 2-to-1 ratio, and this is the first time he would ever have a 2-to-1 ratio.
That's pretty much what he's at right now, 15-8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even worse than a 2-to-1.
Yeah.
So if you finish with 2-to-1, how the fuck are you getting MVP?
The Taylor Swift buff.
I do think you mentioned Tua, Noah. I do think there is something to be said though about how he's only doing so good, or not only. I'm not gonna say only. That's dramatic, but he's definitely doing this good because Tyreek Hill is doing so well.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just going with the assumption that it's a QB award. That's all.
It is. Oh, I think Tyreek should get it, but I don't think he will. Sadly,
I think we can all agree.
I don't think a wide receiver would ever win that award, ever.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I mean, he is kind of distributing it around too, because while Tyreek does have 1,000 yards, nobody else on the Dolphins has more than 500.
Yep.
I thought it was going to be a two-headed dragon here with Tyreek and Waddle going off, but Waddle's only at 480. Everyone else is below 200 past that. So he is tossing it around to a shit ton of people.
He gets Braxton Berrios involved.
Yeah.
That's
Love me some Braxton Berrios.
someone has to. Yeah, I think that's kind of I think that'll be the storyline is Tyreek Hill gets snubbed for MVP. I think that's going to be like his thing.
I would hate that. But what are some other storylines that we're looking at? Nice little
Oh,
transition.
see, he's a natural. He's a natural.
Kevin and I just fucking shooting right off each other. Yeah, I think that I think we'll really see if the Dolphins make it far. I think they want to flip the defense wins championships narrative, because I think the only teams that really have those kind of defenses are like not gonna make, like the Browns have like amazing defense. They might not even make the playoffs. So I guess we'll see. I've always been a big offense guy, but I know you need a good defense. So I'm curious to see how far the Dolphins end up really making it if they can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd actually like to open up the discussion and get everyone's thoughts about the Josh McDaniels firing and Las Vegas Raiders. Like, where do they go from here? This week they're starting Aiden O'Connell. Noah, what do you think about that?
It makes sense. It makes sense. You look at that offense and the talent that they have on that side of the ball. Devontae Adams signs this ridiculous contract. He wants to play with Derek Carr. Derek Carr, generally speaking, one of the top 12 to 15 quarterbacks on any given season. All of a sudden, he's gone, and you get Jimmy G. Jimmy G gets exposed. Devontae Adams is supposed to be here for like 3 more years. You're wasting time. You gotta do something. So I think at the very least, Jimmy G has proven that he does not deserve the spot, and why not try it out with someone else? And that's just Devontae Adams. We also have Josh Jacobs having a down year, and less of that depends on quarterback play, but that does make a difference. Like team momentum plays a factor into how well the running back will do, and so on. So I think at least making the quarterback change, why not? Why not? And I think we'll see a push to get the offensive pieces more involved for the Raiders, because on paper their team could have been in this playoff discussion going into the beginning of the year, even for that 6 or 7 spot. But now they're hitting a midseason reset kind of puts a damper on that. But who knows? I think it was the right move though. And Mike McDaniel has proven that he cannot be a head coach, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The sample size is large enough, in my opinion, to say that maybe he's not right for it. So that's my thoughts.
You already know, Brett and I, especially because we listened to the same radio show. You already know McDaniels has like 4 years left at $40 million that the Raiders are paying him. You already know in 3 weeks he'll be an intern for the Patriots and he'll be getting unpaid for free, Felger and Maz style. That's what they think. And
also, I kept saying Mike McDaniels. This is Josh McDaniel I'm talking about. I don't know why I kept saying Mike. Just want to point that out. Those are 2 different coaches. One of them is a good one.
One is good, yeah. But yeah, I honestly believe that he's gonna bring it on back. Well, who else is gonna hire him? Like Noah said, everyone forgets that he was also a coach of the Broncos too.
Yep.
That didn't work. They drafted Tim Tebow and they made that playoff run, like that one playoff run, and he's done nothing since. He's tried leaving like 3 times. And yeah, I think he'll be an offensive intern, unpaid for the Patriots, while the Raiders just pay him millions of dollars.
The Belichick coaching tree has an absolute atrocious record, and yet they keep stealing our coordinators. I don't understand it. But
even the best coach from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, which it's not like like Brett and I know more about like the Nick Saban coaching tree. Those guys go on to be like ridiculous college coaches, and they like reinvent programs. Mike Vrabel is probably the best coach from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, and that's sad.
you know what is crazy? I saw the stat actually the other day though, where the Belichick coaching tree in the NFL is something like they're around like 400, maybe it was like 350.
Ouch.
But in college, they're like 850. They have insane winning records in college. So Maybe Belichick needs to move over to college ball.
He would run
Oh,
college
God.
ball. Oh my god. National championship after national championship. But yeah, I agree with Noah. I think Devontae Adams is going to have an ass load more targets. And this is something I forgot to mention. I think it'll be a similar thing with Will Levis. A lot of people think and speculated that DeAndre Hopkins went up to Will Levis and said, "Just get me the ball. I'm open." And I think that's going to be kind of a similar thing that they're going to tell O'Connell is like, throw it to Devontae Adams. He'll get it. Like he'll
Yeah.
get it. He'll be fine.
It's crazy how many like how many talented wide receiving cores have no quarterback right now,
There's a lot of
right?
them.
Like we've got AJ Brown with the Cardinals. We've got the two previously mentioned Hopkins and Adams. Pretty much the entire Minnesota wide receiving core is just in like no man's land right now.
Garrett Wilson in the Jets.
The
Garrett Wilson
Jets.
and the Jets. Like the list goes on. It's
And
really
Jerry
weird.
Judy in the Broncos,
Yeah.
Jerry Judy could have Joe Montana back there, and he ain't getting dick done. All right, I promise. Yeah, there's a lot.
But
of
you're right,
teams out
Kevin.
there losing their quarterbacks. Good point.
I'm surprised that some of those teams didn't decide to sell before. The two teams that decided to blow up and sell, I was not expecting it from them. I thought Vegas was going to be stubborn, and I thought that the Commanders, like, they were feeling hype when with fucking Sam Howell getting in there. They beat or they didn't beat the Eagles, but they got fucking close, right? They who did they beat the week before in that fucking? Oh no, it wasn't the week before.
I-
They beat someone.
I
forget
was
who.
equally as shocked when they sold their two best defensive players
Yeah.
in Sweat and Chase. I thought that was going to be. I thought the same thing. I thought that they could have made the playoffs. Hardly, they would have been like a 7 or a 6, but
Yeah.
I thought that they could have made a wild card easy. And I was shocked that they started selling. And I was for sure that Devontae Adams would be wearing a different jersey next week, but they just locked him. They tied him to the radiator down in the basement in Vegas.
Yeah. I thought Adams was going to get traded. I thought Henry was going to get traded. You said something about Chase with the Niners, but why would they get rid of Chase?
No, Chase Young.
Chase Young. Oh, you said Chase, and I immediately thought Jamar, and I was like, "What the fuck are you on?"
No, he's probably going to be a Bengal until he's probably going to be a Bengal until
They
Joe
died.
Burrow's not a Bengal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which
That
it's
was
funny
so
we mentioned the Jets too, and that was kind of one of my like things when I was thinking of like the best players in the league, and then I started thinking about like who I thought was going to do better, and the Jets whole team because I was like ready for Aaron Rodgers to bring them to the playoffs, and now it's just the Jets again, and we just have to deal with another year of the Jets. I thought it was going to finally be the Jets are good, here they come, playoffs baby, and now we just have to watch the Jets all year long again.
Well, I mean, Jets are the Jets are what 4-3 right now.
4-3.
Which isn't nothing.
They're chugging
Got a good
along.
defense.
Their defense has been very good.
Well, hold on now. You know my favorite formula, Brett. So, the Jets beat the Bills, and the Bills beat the Dolphins. So that means the Jets are the best team in the AFC.
Oh, we beat the Jets.
And we beat the Patriots are back. The Patriots. Banner number 7, baby. Hang it up.
Banner number 7.
Sorry, Brett. Sorry. Go. Keep going.
No, that was really like all I wanted to say about the Raiders. I agree with. I actually one of the bets that I placed this week was Devontae Adams plus receptions. I think he'll definitely hit 6+ receptions. And I actually have Aiden O'Connell over completions because I think they will try and check it down a lot and get Myers involved and Adams involved and just try to like gain his confidence level. in the short game. And I think Jacobs will get a lot of work. And typically, after a coach and general manager get fired, you tend to see like a big boom in that first week. Because I don't know if any of you guys saw there's a video from the Raiders locker room the other day where Devonte Adams was shooting like one-on-one. Some guy was like hanging up a backboard, and Devonte Adams like had a basketball, and he like swished it, and he's like I already know what all y'all saying. This is why y'all losing, because you playing basketball in the locker room. But like it seemed like he was having fun, and like the morale seemed to be a lot better now that Jimmy's not the starter anymore. I feel like a lot of people kind of turned against Jimmy, and it just created like a negative vibe in the locker room.
Surely injuries tore him apart, right? Jimmy was good.
He's had some bad ones too.
Yeah, he blew out his knee like 2 or 3 times.
He ripped up like his shoulder as a Patriot. He tore his ACL as a Niner, and he just had like spine surgery last year. So like, I mean, those are big injuries. But they asked Devonte Adams about like his new coach, and they said, "How do you feel about you?" And he literally says like, "Oh, yeah, I'm already ready to run through a wall for him." And I'm like, he ain't saying that about McDaniels, brother.
I don't think
for that team's sake, he better get that +6. Like, he better get at least 6 receptions, or that team's gonna implode. He's gonna have a meltdown.
Who are they playing? Oh, who they got? They have the Giants. Oh, baby, this could be career game for Devonte Adams.
Giants are a sneaky good defense. I wrote about this yesterday. I'm not even joking. They've played a couple good offenses tough this season. Held the Commanders to 7 a couple weeks ago. The Bills to 14. Dolphins to 31, which Dolphins are Dolphins. So, like, the last couple of weeks the team's been looking okay. I think the Raiders win that game, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it's not what we might expect it to be right off the bat.
I think you're right. They held the Cowboys to 40, so.
Well, what was that, like week 1? Like, I'm talking recently, Bills are the Bills. And the Commanders, they're both pretty strong offenses.
Yeah, Kevin's just bringing up games from ages ago. Yeah, they gave up 45 points to the Broncos in 1966. What do you got to say about that, Noah? Speaking of, so again, I thought he was going to be moved. I thought it was a pretty uneventful trade deadline. Yeah. I thought a lot of names were going to get pushed. I think if Kirk Cousins was healthy, he might have been one of those guys who get pushed with their record, what it was. But I feel like the only big move was the 2 trades I almost called them the Redskins. Two trades that the Commanders made. Dobbs to Vikings. I feel like that's not. Yeah, so I think that is sneaky. Because I think he'll do better than whoever the fuck. I mean, Jaron Hall. I thought Dobbs was doing okay in Arizona.
I was looking him up in the group chat, right? The other guy that they have in Minnesota, he's been in the league for like 10 years and has like 3 games.
Sean Mannion.
Yeah.
Oh, the only fun fact about Sean Mannion. There was 1 year I did like a Madden franchise, and the only reason I know who Sean Mannion is the Rams are like the hottest team around, and Jared Goff is their quarterback. So I was like, I'm gonna be the Rams and play franchise mode. And I simulated, and I didn't realize Jared Goff got hurt. So one day I go out there, and he trots out Sean Mannion as my starting quarterback. And I was like, whoa. I fucking threw the roof off the building. He went for like 500 yards. So Sean Mannion's a dog in my book, all right?
Well, I want to pull something out real quick because our friend Brett over here, who did start sits for quarterback, did in fact recommend a bonus start this week. Jaron Hall. So I'll read this verbatim. I'll read it verbatim to give Brett's perspective. Okay. I really don't have much to base this off of, other than the fact that I watched Jaron at BYU. And although he had big shoes to fill, replacing Zach Wilson, Hall, and breakout rookie Puka Nakua formed quite the dynamic duo. The Vikings have weapons, and this is Hall's one chance to prove himself before Dobbs gets the call in Week 10. The Atlanta Falcons defense is mid, so if you're feeling real spicy, or your quarterbacks are on bye, you don't know who to pick up, plug in Hall and see what happens.
And I stand
Here's the question,
Is he the
though.
official starter?
He will be for this week. My question is, if Jaron Hall lights it up,
Dobbs on the bench.
Dobbs gets a start anyways, right? But like,
I don't think so.
how interesting would that be? I'm for it. Why not?
If Jaron Hall lights it up, why not? Let him out there. I don't think they will. I think they traded for Dobbs for a reason. But
Yeah.
But he could. Imagine if Justin Jefferson was back. Imagine if Justin Jefferson never got hurt, honestly.
No.
And it was Jaron Hall throwing to Justin Jefferson and Addison. I feel like that would be I feel like he'd be pretty good. But I'm not going to speak too much. I don't know anything about the kid.
See, that's a sneaky part about that Minnesota team is they have like their receiving core is way deeper than any of us realized. I mean, never mind them. They traded for Hawkinson last year, which is
Dog.
pretty good dog right there. But
Dog.
I didn't even realize it when we were drafting fantasy that I got Addison and Osborne, and I was like, who? Like, oh, I thought I was picking up the scraps from Specht over there, who had the entire Vikings offense. And then Jefferson goes down, and all of a sudden, Addison is like skyrocketing in his points. And Osborne last week, I'm pretty sure that was like his first week that they were actually using him in a starting lineup, and he put up numbers. He got 99 yards on 10 targets. That's pretty damn good. He caught 8 of them, so that's more than 10 yards per catch. I mean, if you have a guy like that stepping up, if you can just get a QB, I think they'll be able to pull out some wins. I don't know if it'll be enough, but I kind of hope so.
See, the reason Kirk Cousins is leading the league in passing yards is because they haven't been able to run the ball all season. Alexander Madison has been a giant disappointment.
Don't say it.
His yards
My heart can't take it.
His yards per carry, like backing up Dalvin Cook, was over 5, and his yards per carry as a starter is below 4. So huge drop off there. And if that continues and they're not able to run the ball and all the pressure is being put on the passing game, it doesn't matter if it's Dobbs or Jaron Hall. Like that's just too much of a workload for them. Have to establish a run game, and their defense needs to improve too, because most of the games that the Vikings have had to gut out are games that they've had to score like 25 or more points.
Yeah, Madison, from a first-hand perspective, has been terrible. I mean, just terrible. I love Kirk. I thought Kirk was going to do this good no matter what, but Madison is definitely on the list of most disappointing players this year. I mean, he is just mediocre as mediocre comes. Another running back in the NFC that I thought was going to do way better this year, who just isn't, was when he went from Philly to Carolina. I thought Sanders was going to be way fucking better. He is. I mean, he's like not even part of the offense anymore in Carolina. Miles Sanders. Yeah. I mean, what did he get last week? 2 carries. I mean, he is just getting. For the record, I said to start him. I did. It was the last start, but I said to start him. I thought he was going to be so good. He was one of the lead touchdown backs in Philly, and then he goes to Carolina to lose to a man named Chuba. I mean, I really thought that he was going to do way better. He's on the short list of disappointing players.
I mean, I'm bringing it back to the beginning of the podcast here. We're talking about Derrick Henry again, okay? And I know I'm biased because he's on my team, and I'm disappointed with the points he's given me. But if you look at the Titans' scores, there's only a single game that they lost by more than 1 score. So they can be running the ball. They have the ability. It's not like they're the Vikings where they have to be throwing every single game, just playing catch-up. But you look at his carry attempts, he's sitting at 137 across 8 games right now. In pretty much every other season, he had like double that at this point. He only played 8 games throughout the entirety of 2021, and he was able to get 219 carries. Last year for 16, 349, 378 for 16, 303 for 15, 215 for 16, and that's like going back now. So I just don't know why aren't they using him? I I was looking over the
Because he's
game.
getting older.
I think Brett was right. What he said earlier is that
I don't know.
if they want to sneak into the playoffs, they need him. They absolutely need him.
But that's all.
Yeah.
We were talking how competitive this AFC is this year, and they're sitting at 3-5, bottom of the division. And it's not like it's the usual AFC South where you could maybe sneak in with a 500 record. The Jags are doing pretty damn good, so they got to start picking up the pace if they want to actually make it. I don't know why they're not using Henry.
I also think that he's going to start doing way better because, like I said earlier, I think the actual threat of someone throwing the ball farther than 15 yards is going to open it up a little bit. You know, get some guys out of the box, get some guys backed up because, like I said, Tannehill hardly threw the ball farther than 10, 15, 20 yards. And I think Will Levis starts next week. I don't care if Tannehill's back. I think Will Levis starts no matter what, and I do think that threat of the deep ball will help Henry a lot.
All right. Who you disappointed in, Noah?
Where do I fucking start? Let me run down my whole fantasy lineup, right? I mean, the two people that come to mind, well, one, T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals. The hope, despite his injury that he had recently, the hope is that he will hopefully bring it back together. He did last week with the Bengals, hopefully having a resurgence as a team. And then Josh Jacobs as well. I have complained about him to no end, obviously. Last year's rushing champion is, I don't know where he is right now in the rankings, but he is certainly not getting that this year. He is 18th in rushing yards this season. So I gotta throw those two out there.
I saw a stat, and I don't know why I shared it because usually I just run right to the chat with these things. It's like literally 100% of the time, whoever the rushing champion is with the most yards, the next year they're always bottom half of the league, like 100% of the time almost.
Well, so it was Jacobs. Who was it the year before?
Like
was it JT that year?
It's something crazy. It's like not and JT, it didn't hardly played last year. He went for wasn't it 2 years ago he was the rushing champion because last year.
Yeah, who was that in the middle?
We have Josh.
It's
Jacobs
not 100. It's not 100, obviously, but it was like a crazy
Yeah.
stat of like rushing champions who just die the next year.
Jonathan Taylor, the one anomaly, Derrick Henry twice in a row.
Yeah.
Zeke, Hunt.
Zeke's career like ended after that.
Well, yeah, after that, but it did go. We're going backwards now. Remember, so it went Zeke, Hunt, Zeke, but I'm pretty sure Zeke did have like a down year in between where everyone was like, "Oh, he's done," and then immediately next year he was back. Then Adrian Peterson, DeMarco Murray, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson again. So there's a couple repeats in here, but there's always like a down year in between.
God, remember DeMarco Murray that year? My dad had him in fantasy. DeMarco Murray was insane, and he did have a down year. I think he went to the Eagles that next season. It was not nearly as
It
good.
was terrible.
Yeah.
So now you know. Now you know who's rushing right now. Who leads the league in rushing?
Take a guess.
Yeah.
There's only one correct name here.
CMC probably.
CMC, baby.
Yeah, he's in. It's hard to say with him because he seemed. I'm gonna actually fuck Austin. I'm not gonna knock on wood. It seems like he kind of figured out the injury thing, but who knows? He could blow his leg off any week. That's what he used to do in Carolina.
Yeah. Which this is why I was actually bringing it back too, because I was checking the rushing leaders. Second place is Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
And who's third place?
Use him. Like, if you give him more attempts, you're gonna get fucking yards. It's not like he's bad. You're giving him less attempts and he's second place in rushing. Like, come on.
But I think it's worth mentioning if you start, Derrick Henry really started popping off in 2020. He had 2,000 yards in 2020. Next year, he couldn't even get through half the season. And then last year he had 1,500. Now he's slowing down a little bit. So I think there's, a credence that if you run him into the ground, then either next year he's going to he hurt himself, or he's just got to, because he's missed the playoffs. He's missed the tail end of the season a lot. And I think Brett's logic is spot on. I think that they want to keep his knees alive. I mean, look at Todd Gurley. They ran Todd Gurley into the ground year after year after year. Now Todd Gurley's flipping burgers or whatever the hell he's doing. Who knows?
Damn.
He's probably an analyst somewhere doing college football or something. But where's Todd Gurley right now? Let's find out.
I'm looking too.
Yeah, Todd Gurley. My guess is an analyst, but he wasn't much of a talker.
Wikipedia has no additional information.
What do I even search? Where is Todd Gurley now? This is not what I meant. I did not mean what happened with Todd Gurley. Not what I need.
He is a part owner of the fan-controlled football league's Beast.
Yeah.
Oh, that stupid Johnny Manziel was in that league for a little bit. Yeah, that league where it's like arena football, and it's stupid and dumb, and like my
7-on-7
to watch football.
All right, though. Well, I will say we're well past the 2-hour marker now. Hit us with some quick bets.
Quick bets, baby.
And we'll wrap this up.
All right, rattle them off. There needs to be like some exciting bet music, like right now. Someone do it for me while I'm talking. So I got easy one. Anytime TD Tyreek Hill Sunday morning, Germany, big game, bang. Anytime TD AJ Brown, another easy one, bang. Only reason I did AJ Brown is because it's plus 110, which I feel like is disrespectful. Chiefs and Dolphins. I got Chiefs and Dolphins over 50.5. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. 50.5 seems kind of low. I feel like it's going to be like a 34 to 33 kind of game. I have the Chiefs money line, as I've been saying all night. I don't think that Sunday is a layup. I think the Patriots money line, Rams +3 and Dallas Cowboys +3, all lines that are really close. I got Dallas is in Philadelphia. I think that's going to be a good game, as we know. Big Cowboys guy here. So yeah, those are my quick bets, baby.
Good.
So I already shared my Raiders bets earlier. So I also did over 50 for the Chiefs game.
Yes.
That's way too low. I expect to shoot up as well in Germany. For the Seahawks-Ravens game, I have Lamar Jackson under rushing yards. Where am I here? I also have a couple bold predictions here as well. I have the Chicago Bears. I have them to cover this week. I think that could be like a sneaky game against the Saints. The Saints haven't looked great over the last few weeks. I also have in this Houston Texans Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, I have CJ Stroud over passing yards, and I have over 40 for the total.
You heard it here first. Go lock in your parlays, boys. Easy. All right. Now, the most exciting part of the week. I'm going to rattle off these games, and you fellas tell me who's going to win. Knee jerk, no explanation needed. We'll start with probably the game of the week. Dolphins Chiefs in Germany. Noah, go.
Chiefs.
Brett, go.
Chiefs.
Kevin,
Chiefs.
go.
Chiefs are writing the script.
Easy. Commanders Patriots. I got Patriots.
Patriots.
Commanders.
And then I'm assuming you're gonna say Commanders because you alluded to that earlier.
I said Commanders, yeah.
Did you? I'm sorry. Rams Packers. I got Rams +2.
Rams.
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 Buccaneers Houston. I got the Buccaneers.
Houston.
Give me Houston.
I'll take Houston out of the bye. I think.
Arizona Cardinals and Cleveland Browns. Give me the Cleveland Browns.
Browns, yeah.
Browns.
Browns.
I had to think about that one. Bears Saints. Give me the Saints.
Yeah. We're rolling with Brett.
Saints.
Next one, another really good game. Seahawks Ravens. Give me the Seahawks.
Seahawks, baby. We're rolling with them.
I'm gonna take the Seahawks.
I got to stay consistent and pick Baltimore.
There we go. Minnesota Vikings versus Atlanta Falcons. I again think Taylor Heineke dog. Give me the Atlanta Falcons.
I just want the Vikings to win. I have no rhyme or reason. I just want them to win.
Go Vikings. That's my pick.
I got the Falcons.
Yeah. Who we got next? Give me the Colts Panthers. Who gives a shit? Colts, I guess.
Yeah, cool.
Colts.
I got Panthers.
All right. Another snooze fest. Giants Raiders. Give me the Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah. Raiders, and it's going to be a replay of last week's Giants game. It's going to be like 13-10. I have no faith that you guys are saying Devontae Adams is going to go off. I don't see it. I think their QB sucks.
Brett waggling his finger at the camera.
Yeah, what was that all about?
I got Raiders, actually.
Okay. Respect. Another banger of a game. Cowboys Eagles. Give me the Cowboys.
Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles take this one at home.
Yeah,
Cowboys got the revenge game.
I got the Eagles as well.
Another amazing game. 4 amazing games on. Here we go. Bills and Bengals. Give me the Bengals.
I'm so excited for this one.
It's a fun
Give me
one.
Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals at home.
I'll take the Bills, who have been sliding. I think they'll bounce back this week.
Respectable. And then we get to end it with a real burner of a game. Monday night, Chargers and Jets. Give me the Chargers.
Agree.
Yeah.
Chargers.
Easy.
Yeah, I guess.
Light work. And then after that, that is it. I think the 49ers, the Jags, and the Lions, I think they come off the bye. I think they're going to be just fine.
Lions win the bye week. Just saying.
Lions win the bye. The 1v1v1 game that they're going to have.
They rest just a little more.
Honestly, if anyone's winning the bye week, actually, it's the Niners being able to rest up. And because
They need it.
speculation is Debo comes back after the bye. I'm just saying.
Promptly to leave again.
Yeah, promptly to leave again.
We couldn't possibly end the podcast without one more shout out to Debo Samuel.
I think Kevin needs to do a team fine. I think he needs to fine Debo Samuel for athletic negligence. He's not keeping it healthy, Kevin. You got to get that figured out.
They had him with a rib injury, and then as soon as he's like, "Hey, I'm feeling good, guys," he goes out and hairline fractures his shoulder. So
Also, I just want to mention, right? This is the kind of company we keep in this league. Look at all the hats on the wall. Look at our championship belt on the floor.
Yes, I know.
Just sitting there on the floor. Get some hooks.
You'll
some hooks.
Dude, it's fucking heavy. If you want it off the floor, you'll have to take it from me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think I might die without a championship. Okay, I think we're gonna be 55, and it's gonna be friggin', God knows what the NFL is gonna look like, by then. And I'm gonna be beltless, guaranteed, man. I'm gonna still be talking about that year that I had Josh Allen and I was trumped first round of the playoffs 2 years ago. I'm gonna be talking about that till I die. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've kept you here long enough. Thank you for watching. Thank you if you end up watching. Thank you for commenting. For Noah, Brett, Kevin, and your boy We will see you hopefully next week, and hopefully Thursday Night Football is better than we expect because we need something to talk about with that garbage game. Ladies and gentlemen, 4QWI